Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. Pushing to 2,000 subscribers, so if you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. So it's time to pod, y'all. So for today's episode, this one's going to be a quick one. I want to talk about Ramona Shelburne, who was on ESPN on a panel, and they asked her a question. The Heat must do what to become a championship contender? And her answer surprised me. She said that the Heat must hand the keys to Bam Adebayo in order for this Miami Heat team to step up and become a contender. So they mentioned that, Jimmy Butler has been the key player for the Miami Heat, obviously the best player on the Miami Heat, but she's noticed that, Bam has been developing and growing over these past few years. She mentioned that in the Olympics, we see in last season now that Bam is able to stretch the floor, hit some threes. He's able to hit a mid-range. He's able to obviously play downhill and get to the rim against slower bigs. And he can play his back to the basket. He has a post-up game, which he needs to improve on, I think. But she said that, they need to hand the keys to Bam Adebayo, and they should have done that perhaps last year because of Jimmy's availability issues, obviously because of his load managing. So she's thinking that in order for the Miami Heat to be successful, Bam needs to be the guy. He's obviously known for being defensive minded, one of the best defensive players in the NBA, but she's saying he needs to step up now, be more aggressive next season offensively, as well as the Miami's go-to player. And it makes sense. I mean, a lot of Heat fans are seeing that Jimmy, obviously missing 20 plus games, it seems like every single season, getting older. He's going to be 35 this season. A lot of folks want the Miami Heat to hand the keys to Bam Adebayo and also just focus on the future build of Bam Adebayo, who's 27, just signed a 3-year max deal. He's in his prime, and we're adding young pieces around him through the draft, like Jaime, Jovic, Kalel Ware, and we're adding undrafted guys that could be part of this rotation, like Keyshawn Johnson and maybe an Isaiah Stevens and Caleb Daniels and a few other players, Josh Christopher. So we do have some young, talented players. We have Tyler Hero, obviously, who's still 24 years old. And he's not going anywhere, it seems like, at this point, based on his perceived trade value across the NBA and based on his contract. And so I understand where she's coming from, saying that it should be Bam who can help elevate this team to become a championship contender. But it also is contingent on Jimmy Butler still. I don't care what anybody says. This team goes as far as Jimmy Butler takes us. I don't think Bam Adebayo right now is that 1A. I don't think he will be a 1A, honestly, at this point in his career. I mean, he is essentially who he is. He's going to grow, of course, but he's already 27 years old. Like, I don't think he's going to become like a 45% three-point shooter and become lights out. I don't even think it's optimal for him to become like a Karl Anthony Towns where he's only shooting threes. Like, we need him to be playing in the paint, obviously, so he can get us offensive rebounds, but he can also take higher percentage field goal attempts, right? And that's that mid-range. I mean, he needs to obviously drive to the basket a little more. He needs to play make more. It's not all just the threes. The threes are nice to have. If opponents are going to give him that three, which they have been, and I think they will next season, he needs to prove that he can do this consistently. He's got to take those threes, especially above the break. And we're seeing in the Olympics when he's playing around good playmakers like Steph Curry, LeBron James, he can hit that wide open three from the corner, which is obviously the shortest distance and easiest, theoretical three-pointer there is. So I'm excited to see Bam step up. I think he's going to have a big year next year. I think the experience and the impact of him playing in the Olympics with all these superstars and him playing really well with these guys and highlighting and showcasing his versatility on offense and defense, I think is going to be huge for the Miami Heat next season. And as long as we're healthy and we have Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier, Jimmy Butler able to play, Jaime Jaquez, possibly having a breakout year and stepping up, and Nikola Jovic, getting another full season under his belt and growing, and having Kalel Ware now in the system, this Miami Heat team could have an interesting year next season. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't disagree with Ramona Shelburne, even though I don't like her. She's usually a Boston stan and never gives the Miami Heat any credibility. So I think these analysts on ESPN who don't really pay attention to the Miami Heat are finally noticing what Bam Adebayo is capable of doing. So thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, do you agree with Ramona Shelburne? Do you think the Miami Heat should hand the keys off to Bam Adebayo next season.